Welcome back to the Good Shepherd Mausoleum, a place where family, friends, and loved ones are laid to rest, and it was entrusted that this would be their final resting place. But as we've learned from my previous visits, that's sadly not the case. Unfortunately, this mausoleum has taken a turn for the worst. So I invite you to come along with me as we learn the latest about this dismal place. Now, if you've been covering this place from the beginning, welcome back. If you're new here for the first time, check the description down below as I have a playlist dedicated to this mausoleum covering all my previous videos, including my first video, which covers all the back history on this location. Right now, I'm going to share with you some photos that were shared to me by a viewer. I'm going to touch more on him later, but we're going to see some great before and after photos showing how this place is transformed and basically turned into the way it looks today from the lack of upkeep and maintenance and just Mother Nature itself taking over. Here's a before photo showing the granite sign at the entrance. This is facing away from the building towards the road. And now we're going to cut to how it looks today. Severely overgrown, still there, but very hard to see. And if we were here a couple months ago during the summertime, I doubt we'd be able to see it at all. We're now down at the office, and the before photo shows the entryway, sidewalk railing, prominent side of Good Shepherd office, including the door itself. As we fade into present time, you can hardly even tell it's there. These hedges have not been touched in probably at least a decade, and they're completely covering the first portion of the building, including the sign, which is still back there. Faded now, but still on the walls, and it's still there if you look closely. Our next photo takes us to the other side of the railing where you see the door with the walk-in sign, part of the Good Shepherd office sign, sidewalk, and again, notice the hedge height, much lower, and they were maintained back then. And today, it is just a jungle. You can't even make it to the door, but the door is there. It still does say walk-in, and underneath all that is still a concrete sidewalk, but you'd have to really dig down to find it. Our last before photo shows the building when it's in much better condition, probably when it was still in operation as a mausoleum and before it was condemned. And now we're going to cut to how it looks today. Making our way over to the open window of the office, you can actually smell the mold coming from the inside. It's in really poor condition, and it's just full of trash, just miscellaneous items, and a lot of those cases that you see are children's medicine, both pills and liquid form. It's been there for as long as I've been visiting this place. There's even packets littering the ground outside, and it makes you wonder what they're used for, why they stored there. Really don't know, but it's very strange. But just to show this property though, it's been really well manicured by a viewer of mine. His name's Paul, and he took the time to come here and to basically make it look how it looks today. He really put in a strong, solid effort to get the property under control, at least this section of it, because previous times there has been patches of grass that have been cut, but overall it's been really overgrown, and certain areas you couldn't even really see anything on the ground or even walk through it because it was so high. But he did dedicate his time to come here and to make it look how it looks today. Now, several people have inquired about the condition of the roof. Well, as we all know, the roof is not in good condition. It is, as far as my understanding, beyond repair at this point. It needs a whole new roof, and the price they quoted was several years ago, which means the price has probably increased significantly since that time. But we know the roof leaks. Water does get inside not only the building, but the crypts themselves. And I'm going to show you as we speak the condition of the roof as I flew my drone over, because as you can see on the footage, there's some growth growing up there as far as trees and grass and other things. There's exposed rebar, high and low peaks, which means water is collecting up there. And it's been that way for as long as I've been covering this, and even before then. This has been this way for at least 10 years, if not longer. So the roof has been leaking for a long time. And back when they got the estimate for the repairs, it was a significant amount of money which nobody wanted to fork up, neither the owners nor the township. And like I said, after time, especially now in today's economy, that price is probably much higher than what they originally quoted. So I don't see the roof getting repaired or replaced. And it makes you wonder if that's the case, what's going to happen with this building? I've shared my thoughts before and I'll share them again. The outcome, the future of this is very bleak. That's because there's no one right now that's taking ownership. The building is classified as abandoned. News stations have even shared that publicly. The building is in an abandoned state, which means no one wants to put their fingers on it saying, I own it, I'm going to be responsible. So what that means is that over time, if nothing gets done, the building's going to fall further into disrepair, maybe into the point of collapse at certain portions, even though we've seen that on sections of the roof already on the outskirts. But when the loved ones and family members of the ones who were laid to rest here pass away, there's no one to really speak on their behalf. So what's going to happen with the remains here? Again, more questions than answers. As we make our way under the right wing here, this is the outside section where there are bodies laid to rest. This is where a lot of the damage has occurred in the past already, where sections and large chunks of the roof has collapsed and it's just exposed rebar here. And you can see that there are open crypts here from where bodies have been exhumed. And we've talked about that before, where a funeral director has been working with families upon request and charging them the minimal amount to have the bodies removed and relocated to their choice of location. But there are still ones laid to rest here, including one right here that is still bricked up. So what they have out here is just a marble slab that's placed in place with some screws. Behind that is a brick temporary wall. It's mortared up. Behind that is where you'll find the casket itself. So a lot more here than people realize, but there's still been some that have been removed over the past several years. But inside, though, is where we're going to check out next. As I said in my intro, this mausoleum has taken a turn for the worst, and it's clearly evident as to what has happened here. This is so unfortunate. This is something that I knew would probably happen, but was hoping never happened. And I'm going to say a couple things on this. This is just my opinion. I definitely don't condone vandalism, destruction of property, stuff like that. But I can understand, not that I agree, but I understand why it happened. And it's because of this right here. This cable lock. Now this was here in place, I believe my first video, where we weren't able to go inside because the doors were locked up with a chain or a cable. After that time, my previous visits up until now, this was removed. These doors were open. People were free to go in, whether to take pictures, do videos like myself, or to pay respects to their loved ones. But for whatever reason, they placed a lock on here again, which prohibited access. Now they do have that this building's unsafe and it's not to be occupied. And this is March of 2022. So this was after I was here. I was here September, October of 2021. So between then and now, this took place. They locked up the doors, which means people still came wanting to take pictures, to do video. They couldn't get in. They made their own way in. On the door here, it is busted open. It appears that they may have even tried, kicking it to break through. And it looks like it's like shatterproof glass. As we come over to the window, though, it's a clear-cut hole right here. And now this is how people are getting inside. And the thing that raises questions to me is that there is homes nearby. Not super close, but I could see one through the woods. This would make some noise, and it would cause a racket. I'm surprised that no one got caught doing it. No one heard anything. Despite that, though, it is even more of an unsafe condition right now. When this was unlocked, people could come and go, and that's what everyone did, including myself. People came here, did what they had to do, respectfully, and left. No damage was ever done. There was never broken glass, never any damage, just things moved around for like setting up photo scenes, stuff like that. But now, this is beyond repair, obviously. They'd have to put up a whole new window. Obviously, they're not going to put up the money for that. The only other thing they could do is to plywood it up, which again, I'm not sure if anyone even wants to do that. It costs money and a little bit of time. So it's definitely gone downhill. It's the worst I've ever seen it. But unfortunately, this is not the only damage that occurred. That means we have to hit on the inside because there's a few more things I need to show you in there.
For starters, this is not a damage thing, this is just an update thing. 2 more bodies were exhumed here from my last video. On the ground here is the pile of brick and rubble, which I explained on the outside is what creates a temporary wall or barrier. So they removed the slab, which probably went home with the loved one's relative. But they had the brick wall here, which they did basically demolish, and then the casket was right inside here. So 2 of them were removed within the last 12 months. But now this is where things get even more upsetting, because right here is the beautiful stained glass windows. This is what you see when you first walk in. It's bright and vibrant, grabs your attention, and it was the focal point for me. I've taken a lot of photos of this area. And as you can see, this center piece here is destroyed. It's not only bent, which means probably people pushed it in or hit it with rocks or hammers, but the glass is basically busted through. You can see right out to the outside, and including his face, parts of the robe here, the lamb, just various portions of the picture are destroyed. Like I said, it's not mere coincidence or an accident. This was intentionally destroyed, and I don't understand why. I can understand why that was broken to come inside, but it does not make sense to do this. My only hope is that it doesn't get worse. And that's a message from me to you guys, whoever watches this, that if you do come to this location or any location in general, just show respect. You know, it's one thing to come and to document it. It's a whole other thing to come and push the limits as to what you could get away with. So I just hope that it doesn't get worse, but hope is kind of a lost cause at this point, because if they do that, who knows what else will happen. As we look through the inside here, it's not really any better, as it wouldn't be. Not a whole lot worse, surprisingly though. But with this open here and the window open, there is some cross ventilation, which means the smell is not as bad. Mold maybe dying off a little bit because there's some ventilation, and whenever it does rain and moisture comes inside, it's drying out. So that's kind of a silver lining, a little bit of good that comes out of the bad. Right now we're going to head back outside because I want to talk to you about a number of people that have been contacting me regarding this location. I'm going to share with you what their inquiries have been, and also what things I've learned from speaking with those individuals themselves. Ever since my videos of this place came out, this mausoleum has garnered a lot of attention. Numerous news outlets have covered this location dozens of times, and explorers and photographers have come from all over to see this place in person. Many people have also reached out to me asking what they could do to help out, more so financially. But there's been, over the last several years, but more so in the last 2 years, well over 24 people who have emailed me, contacted me through Facebook asking about how they could help out. And the unfortunate thing is that I don't really have any answers for them other than to contact the township, because they're the ones who right now are kind of overseeing the place, but they, again, have no, what's the way to put it? They have no hand in this, so to speak, because it is still owned by someone who is denying ownership, who's basically saying, I don't want it, I didn't know I was buying this, and it's still tied up in a severe legal mess. I mean, it's been tied up in a legal mess for years, and it's still there to this day. It's not getting any better. So people have reached out to the township, and the township said, basically, we can't help you. We're sorry, our hands are tied, you know, because if we get involved, they basically assume ownership or responsibility. And this is a significant financial, you know, responsibility, whoever was to take over it. So those who have reached out, I mean, I applaud their efforts. I'm glad people are wanting to help out some way. But unfortunately, at this point, not a whole lot can be done other than just coming here and cleaning up the grounds and hopefully keeping an eye on it so that stuff like this doesn't happen again. I don't know what else to say other than, you know, I'm going to keep documenting it as long as this keeps going on. I don't see a clear, precise outcome anytime in the near future, but whatever does happen, good or bad, be rest assured I will keep you updated. That means I will be back 1 year from now, October of 2023, with my next update. But if something does happen or change before then, I obviously will come back and share it with you. first thank you for tuning in to watch this video. This place, it's really bizarre. It's one of the few places probably in America or the world where it's a place, it's a structure, it's a property, and it's, you know, we throw around the term abandoned a lot. Oh, this is abandoned, that's abandoned. This is classified as abandoned from news stations and documents. I don't really know of any other place off the top of my head that is like this. And all I could say again is if you come here, please don't make it any worse. Just leave it how you found it. Do what you want to do as far as pictures and videos, and just be safe, be careful, because this is a hazard now. You can easily cut yourself open and this will turn into a whole nother mess that I don't want to see happen. But if you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them for you. Those who did reach out or do have any inquiries about helping out, as I mentioned, if you do reach out, I'm just going to tell you the same thing I told everyone else. Contact the township, but they're probably going to tell you they can't do anything. I do have a Facebook page, if you're not aware. You can find the link down below in the description. On there I do share photos, videos, and some posts that don't always make it to my YouTube channel. But if you want to find out what's going on with me and my channel, follow me on Facebook. Thanks again, everyone, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video.